Thank you for coming in for today's Sangha. It's the day that we all are eagerly waiting to join and meet each other. So once again, thank you for this opportunity to glorify the sacred text of Bhagavad Gita. I'm not qualified to do this. Whatever I speak here would be what I've heard from the previous acharyas or from my gurudevs or from the senior spiritual leaders in this movement. So please forgive me if I make any mistakes. And whatever good you take from this session today is by their mercy and it's their words. So please accept them and follow them to the best of your ability. So before we begin today's verse from the Gita, we're going to be chanting the Mangalacharan and also singing the Jai Radha Madhava prayers. So please kindly repeat. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Radha Mother ki jai, Savior of the whole world, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So we will chant the invocation prayers together. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkest ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamsha. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. I request everybody to please raise your hands up and chant the Hare Krishna mantra. Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Mukham karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yadripatamaham vande Shri Gurun Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Katanjana Smritesmin Dushkaram Sukaram Bhavet Vismrite Viparitam Syat Shri Chaitanya Namamitam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we are reading from the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita as it is. Does anyone know which text we are on? 39, thank you. So, do we know what the chapter is entitled? What's the name of this chapter? Dhyana. Okay, nice. Just trying to recollect. So I'll just move on to text 39. And before we move on to text 39, does anyone remember in a line what is the whole conversation in this chapter about?
About mind.
Okay. Mataji says mind control. Anyone else?
The process of Ashtanga Yoga, how to attain the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Yes, the process of Ashtanga Yoga and how to attain the Supreme Personality of Godhead, within which the mind control also comes, right?
Yeah, part of
So that's well said. Anyone else wants to attempt that question? Sorry, I'm just looking for the page number.
292.
Okay, I got it. Thank you. So, of all the various processes that Krishna has discussed in the Gita, in this chapter, Krishna is discussing Dhyana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, a very difficult path for anyone to take to attain spiritual success. Right? Let's read the verse. Thank you, Prabhu. So this is how we're going to read. I'll read the verse, and it'll be nice if you all can repeat line by line. Reading from Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 6, text 39. Etanme samshayam Krishna.
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 Chetum arhasya sheshatah.
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 Etanme samshayam Krishna. Chetum arhasya sheshatah.
Etanme samshayam Krishna. Chetum arhasya sheshatah.
Twadanya samshayasyasya.
Vadanya samshayasya.
Twadanya samshayasyasya.
Vadanya samshayasya.
Twadanya samshayasyasya.
Vadanya samshayasya.
Cheta nahyupapadyate.
Chetana yupapadyate.
It'll be nice if everyone can repeat. Cheta
Cheta
nahyupapadyate.
yupapadyate.
Etanme samshayam Krishna.
Etanme samshayam Krishna.
Chetum arhasya sheshatah.
Chetum arhasya sheshatah.
Twadanya samshayasyasya.
Vadanya samshayasya.
Cheta nahyupapadyate.
Chetana yupapadyate.
Word for word, please repeat. Etat,
Etat.
this is,
This is
me, my,
my
samshayam,
samshayam.
doubt,
Doubt.
Krishna,
Krishna.
O Krishna,
O Krishna.
Chetum,
Chetum.
to dispel,
To dispel.
Arhasi,
Arhasi.
you are requested,
You are requested.
Asheshatah,
Asheshatah.
completely,
Completely.
Tvat,
Tvat.
than you,
Than you.
Anyaha,
Anyaha.
other,
Other.
Samshayasya,
Samshayasya.
of the doubt,
Of the doubt.
Asya,
Asya.
this,
This.
Cheta,
Cheta.
remove,
Remove.
na,
Na.
remover, na,
Na.
never,
Never.
he,
He.
certainly,
Certainly.
upapadyate,
Upapadyate.
is to be found.
Is to be found.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Translation, please repeat. This is my doubt, O Krishna,
This is my doubt, O Krishna,
and I ask you to dispel it
and I ask you to dispel it
completely.
completely.
But for you,
But for you,
no one is to be found
no one is to be found
who can destroy this doubt.
who can destroy this doubt.
Purport. Krishna is the perfect knower of past, present, and future. In the beginning of the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord said that all living entities existed individually in the past, they exist now in the present, and they continue to retain individual identity in the future, even after liberation from the material entanglement. So he has already cleared up the question of the future of the individual living entity. Now Arjuna wants to know of the future of the unsuccessful transcendentalist. No one is equal to or above Krishna, and certainly the so-called great sages and philosophers who are at the mercy of the material nature cannot equal him. Therefore, the verdict of Krishna is the final and complete answer to all doubts, because he knows past, present, and future perfectly, but no one knows him. Krishna and Krishna conscious devotees alone can know what is what. just put a timer on. We finish at 6, right? So we are discussing Dhyan Yoga, and everyone sort of understands what Dhyan Yoga is, right? Does anyone know what's the meaning of yoga?
Connect.
Sorry, I have this very bad practice of asking and answering, and that's how my whole discussion usually is. It's not, I don't just speak. So I'd like if you're all receptive and answer. So do you know what yoga is? Prabhu just said.
Connect.
To connect. Okay, to connect.
yourself with the Lord.
To connect ourselves with the Lord, right? So Krishna has provided us various methods to connect with Him, and of that, one of the processes is Dhyana. And Dhyana Yoga is a very difficult process in this age of Kali Yuga, right? Because in this age of Kali, even to sit for a moment quietly is very difficult. And so what to speak of practicing Dhyana Yoga, right? So here in Krishna's disciple, Arjuna, his friend, his Sakha, Arjuna is asking a question. First he spoke about mind control, and then he asked in the previous text that what happens to a yogi who is not able to achieve this path of self-realization? He is like a shattered cloud, or a cloud that has not joined the bigger cloud, and he is nowhere, like a dog without a master. So what is the state of such a transcendentalist, right? Because Prabhupada in the previous purport, he mentions that in life, we can attain happiness in two major ways. One is through material success, and the other is through spiritual success, right? So what happens to a person who's endeavoring for spiritual success, right? He doesn't look at material life at all. He's endeavoring for spiritual success, and he's not able to attain that spiritual success. What happens to such a person, right? Obviously, Krishna, Arjuna is asking such submissive questions to Krishna, and Krishna is going to answer this in the next text. But here in this text, very beautifully, Prabhupada explains the nature or the relationship, the nature of the relationship between Arjuna and Sri Krishna. So, Arjuna in this verse, he says, "This is my doubt, O Krishna, and I ask you to dispel it completely." Right? So, first thing that we need to take away from this verse is that Arjuna has a doubt, and he's requesting Krishna to remove that doubt completely. He just doesn't say, clarify this doubt. He said, just, from the root, just dispel this doubt completely. He doesn't want even a tinge of doubt to remain in his mind, right? And he's asking this in a very submissive mode, right? Just like he did in the 4th chapter, Krishna explains how a disciple must surrender to a spiritual master. Arjuna actually surrendered to Krishna in which text? Oh, which chapter of the Gita? Anyone knows?
2.47.
2.47, right? Wherein he says that, now I'm a soul surrendered unto you, right? I have complete faith in you. You're my master. Please instruct me, right? Please guide me. So he's giving the reign of his life in the hands of Krishna, right? So he understands that Krishna is the supreme absolute truth, that he is the master. He is the Adi Purusha. Govindam Adi Purusham, Tamaham Bhajami, Lord Brahma says, right? He is the Adi Purusha, the primeval cause of all causes, the person from which everything emanates. Like in last lecture of Radhashmi, Prabhu said, Aham eva sameva agre, nanyat tatsat asad param. So in that verse, Krishna says that I existed before everything began, and I will continue to exist after everything, dissolves as well. So he is the only being who has been existing since time immemorial, and he will continue to exist, right? So Arjuna is asking this question to that supreme absolute truth, Sri Krishna, who is the source of everything. He's the source of Vedas. He's the source of, knowledge. Name anything in this world, he's the source of it, right? So Arjuna is asking this question to such a person in the most submissive way. And I just want to draw a parallel to how we behave with our teachers in this modern day and age, right? We do not have respect for our teachers. We do not, greet them with, submissive attitude, or we're not even happy to see our teachers sometimes. We go to colleges and schools and all these material institutions to gain knowledge. And what is our attitude when we go to such institutions? We just try to think of what this modern day and age is, and see how Arjuna is behaving. He's setting an example for all of us to follow. he is asking Krishna in a very submissive mode because he has accepted Krishna as his guru. Okay, so he's clarifying our doubt with Krishna, and he teaches us that when we have a doubt, when we have a question in our mind, the person that we must reach out to is Krishna. Prabhu, you want to say something?
No.
Okay. Okay. Because I thought you had suddenly had a realization. Okay, so the person who can dispel our doubt completely is Sri Krishna, and no one but Krishna, because no one is equal to Krishna and no one has a knowledge higher than him, because he is the source of Vedas, right? And in the Brahma Samhita, he says that Advaitam Achyutam Anadim Anantarupam Adyam Purana Purusham Navayavanam Cha Vedeshu Durlabam Adurlabam Atma Bhakto. So those who people cannot understand him through the Vedas, right? But he can be understood by the Atma Bhaktas, right? They are the most fortunate people because they can understand Krishna because they have their eyes anointed with love. So I just drew a parallel on the kind of relationship, and then I came back to say that Krishna is the only person who can dispel this darkness because he is the only one who has he's a reservoir of knowledge, right? And also, if you notice in this material world, all of us are influenced by Maya, material nature, right? Therefore, whatever we speak, whatever we read, whatever we say will not be 100% true, right? The only person who is beyond the control of Maya is Sri Krishna, because he is the source of the material nature, right? So the only person who the material nature is subservient to, or the only person who the material nature cannot control, is Lord Sri Krishna. And therefore, whatever he says is 100% true, and that will dispel our knowledge. Okay, that's point one. And in the purport, Prabhupada says that Krishna is the knower of past, present, and future. Obviously, we read the second chapter of the Gita, and then therein, Krishna says that, and even the fourth chapter, Krishna says that, O Arjuna, because he has this doubt, right? Because the Lord's, Arjuna says that, oh Krishna, you're saying you've given this knowledge to Vivaswan, but he's much more older than you. How did you do this, right? So Krishna says to Arjuna that, we've all existed in the past, and we're existing in the present, and we will exist in the future. I remember this, but you do not, right? So therefore, Krishna is the perfect knower of past, present, and future. So these are few incidents that has happened in the Gita already, which prove that Krishna remembers and knows everything. And time and again, the Gita says that Krishna is seated in everyone's heart, and even the things that you do not know, Krishna already knows what's going to happen, right? And so we know for a fact that Krishna knows everything. Then Prabhupada in the purport says that, now Arjuna wants to know the future of unsuccessful transcendentalists. So first, Arjuna has a doubt. He's submitted himself, and the question that he's asking is about the unsuccessful transcendentalists. Why is Arjuna asking such a question? Because he is not in that position, right? He's already got this knowledge from Krishna, or he's going to get this knowledge because he's already surrendered. Why is Arjuna asking this question? He's asking this question, as we know, we've heard this so many times, he's asking these questions for the benefit of all of us, right? So essentially, if we understand all the Vedic texts, all the Shastras, Srimad Bhagavatam, Gita, whatever, is a series of question and answers. And these question and answers are done in a very submissive mode, in a mood of humility, with the intention of understanding and progressing in the path, and not in a challenging spirit, right? So, and time and again I've heard this, that Srila Prabhupada is repeating so many things for us again and again because we are moodas, right? We are less intelligent, and this age of Kali affects our intelligence, right? And therefore we have to be told again and again and again the same thing, right? So we've been told here that Arjuna is asking this question for the benefit of all of us, right? The Gita, as we know, which is the manual for mankind, which is like an instruction manual. We've heard, right? If you get a washing machine, we get an instruction manual. And that manual tells us, how to optimally use a washing machine, right? Similarly, the Gita tells us or teaches us or is giving us the instructions for a person to utilize this body that we have in the most optimal way, right? We are just using essay like however we want, right? We actually don't know how to use this body, right? And the moment we get this Gita, the most precious gift that Krishna gave to Arjuna and to all of us, we are not in a position to take it up and read it. Why? Because we say we don't have time, because we're all influenced by material energy, right? We do not allocate time to read because we feel that this is not so important in our life, right? So, coming back to the point, Arjuna is asking this question to Krishna for the benefit of all of us, and therefore we must take the opportunity to have the association of the Gita on daily basis. Srila Prabhupada not just gave us the Gita in English, but he made it so simple for us to understand, right? He made it very practical, right? If you read each of his purport, I've heard one of my godbrothers say that you read each of these purport and you feel like Prabhupada is actually speaking to you, right? So in this particular verse, Prabhupada is telling us that surrender to Krishna, ask him your doubt, and dispel the doubt, right? So now Arjuna is asking this question, and then Prabhupada in the purport says that the verdict of Krishna is the final and complete answer to all doubts because he knows past, present, and future perfectly. Again, Srila Prabhupada is reiterating that fact, right? He's reiterating the fact that Krishna knows past, present, and future. So, you don't have to use your intelligence to figure out things. Everything is presented to you. Just take it as it is and just follow suit, right? Just follow this lead and you will attain happiness. You will attain success, right? So Arjuna's doubt is very, it's a very intelligent question that Arjuna is asking, because if you notice in the Shastras, we've often heard of people practicing different parts of spiritual progress, or being in the path of spirituality, but failing at some point in time, even though they might have just reached the 99th% of progress, right? Like we know the story of Bharat Maharaj, of Ajamila, of so many others, right? So the reason that most often people fail is because they do not have love for Krishna, or they do not develop that unconditional love for Krishna as they go on this path, right? So the Acharyas say that prema, which is the ultimate goal of everyone's spiritual progress. We want to attain love for Krishna, or love of Godhead, right? Every spiritual path actually promises or teaches us that this is what we're working towards. We're working towards love of Godhead. But in fact, it is love of God that is that forms the basis to attaining that highest love for God, right? Because you do not have faith in a person if you don't have love for that person. If you do not have, minimal love, you do not have faith, right? Am I right or wrong? Will you have faith in anybody you don't love? You will not have, right? If it's a stranger, you're not going to have faith in that person or what he's saying or she's saying, right? So in bhakti process, faith or love is the process and it is the goal at the end of the day, right? So we know that bhakti has different stages, right? And so does anyone know where we begin this process of bhakti with, or with what do we begin? Adha Shraddha. We begin this process with faith, which is Komal Shraddha, which is actually light faith. You have faith, okay, this process that I'm taking is something that I should follow and I will reach. Like you have some sort of faith because someone has told you, or you've followed in the family, somehow or the other you've developed that little bit faith. But this faith can be shaken. You can be moved from this path because it is just Komal Shraddha, right? And as you progress, after Shraddha, you associate with devotees. You come in contact with sadhus, with Vaishnavas, who are embodiments of the words of the sacred texts. Because for them, they're living and breathing the words of the Lord, right? For them, nothing else matters. It is the words of the Lord that is their life and their soul, right? So, in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, the sages are asking questions to Sutta Goswami. And Sutta Goswami is also very happy with their inquiry, and he's answering these questions. And at some point in the Bhagavatam, in the first canto, there's a shloka which says that a moment's association with a pure devotee of the Lord is not even comparable to na swargam na punarbhavam, to attaining the spiritual planets, or to taking rebirth in this world, or to getting any material benefits in this material world in the form of wealth or fame or glory. So a moment's association with a pure devotee of the Lord is incomparable to all these things. And a person who is seeking these things is only meant for death, right? So what is that shloka? Tulayamalavenapi na swargam na punarbhavam bhagavat sangi sangasya martyanam kimuta shishaha. So tulayama lavenapi, you can't compare the association of pure devotees of the Lord. Even a moment's association of a pure devotee of the Lord is gotten by pure fortune. Okay, great fortune, because not everybody has the association. In this, if for instance in Canada, there could be so many sannyasis, so many pure souls who are visiting, but how many of us are fortunate to take a moment's association with them? Or forget sannyasis traveling. Srila Prabhupada, purport. How many of us are reading these purports every day? Can I see a show of hands? How many of you are reading Srila Prabhupada's purports every day? Okay.
Where is Pitambar Prabhu's hand?
That is, Prabhu knows that I know, so he's not putting his hand up. So imagine Prabhupada is present in the form of his words in your own house. Forget if you don't have a book, you have this phone. The words of Prabhupada is available everywhere. But how many of us are accessing those words of Srila Prabhupada or any of the acharyas?
Some
No.
great souls are here every day, they read.
Yeah, so I'm not questioning them. What I'm trying to say is, let's look at a bigger picture, not people here, but people at large in this world. How many of them are really fortunate, right? Chaitanya Chaitamrita says, Brahmanda Brahmite Kana Bhagyavan Jiva, Guru Krishna Prasadapaya, Bhakti Lata Bija. That is to get the Guru. Only a person who's, very, very fortunate gets a Guru. But I would like to draw a parallel and say only a very fortunate person can get access, can find the time to read Srila Prabhupada's books every day. Because without mercy, we cannot have association with the words of Prabhupada or any acharyas for that matter, right? So going back to the purport of Srila Prabhupada, the verdict of Sri Krishna is the final and complete answer to all doubts, because he knows past, present, and future. Krishna is going to clarify what is the process and how to attain, how this unsuccessful yogi will attain his great fortune. Because we know in the path of bhakti, there is no loss or diminution, right? Once you're in the path of bhakti, there's no destruction to what you've already attained, right? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. Is there anyone who thinks there's a loss? Prabhu? Okay. There's no loss in this path. So even if you do 5 minutes of seva, or even if you do 1 minute of seva, that carries value in your life, right? It is said that seva is one thing, but reading, I'm coming back to reading again because books are the basis in our movement, right? So even if you read half a shloka, quarter shloka, it's still beneficial for you, right? We may not understand what the shloka says. Where there is shloka, there is no shoka. This is what I've grown up hearing. Where there is shloka, there is no shoka. What is shoka? Grief, right? So last week Prabhu said, Durgatam, difficulty. We are always going through difficulty in our life. So imagine if you chant a shloka every day, there's not going to be distress, difficulty in your life. In this world, we know that padam padam yad vipadam hitesham, right? Every step is filled with danger. We don't know what's going to happen in our life next moment. We don't even know if every one of us is going to exist, a few minutes from now, a few seconds from now, right? So every moment we have to think and remember Krishna, and that is possible only through association with sadhus. Association with sadhus doesn't mean physical association. It is to follow their instruction, to live their instruction, to get associated with their instructions, right? So, because their words are not their words are Krishna's words, right? Krishna himself says in various texts, and he says that the Guru is himself, and in this form of Guru, he delivers his devotees. In Chaitanya Charitamrita it said, I can't remember the verse, but it says that Krishna and Guru are non-different, and in the form of Guru, Krishna actually gives the mercy to his disciple and devotees, and he dispels them from darkness. What to speak of Chaitanya Charitamrita? Let's go back to the Gita itself. Krishna says that I give them the shining lamp of knowledge, from which they can dispel this darkness. Right? So Krishna is giving us guarantee that he'll dispel the darkness in the future text. But here Arjuna is already surrendering to Krishna and asking him to dispel the question that he has, the doubt that he has, right? And in the last line to this purport, Srila Prabhupada says that only Krishna and Krishna-conscious devotees alone can know what is what, right? So Srila Prabhupada point blank says that no one can understand Krishna, only Krishna himself and his devotees can understand him. So in that devotees group, the first or topmost is Srimati Radharani, and everyone else follows, right? Because we are all following Sri Rupa Goswami, who is a follower of Srimati Radharani, and therefore. So it is very nice if we can all become devotees of the Lord, if we can all endeavor, if we can all endeavor to be devotees of the Lord, because Krishna says that a person who becomes the devotee of the Lord, he is bestowed with all good qualities that demigods possess, right? All of us at some point in our life would have wanted to become like somebody in this material world, right? We might have somebody who's an idol for us, right? Could be a film star, could be a politician, could be our teachers, or XYZ, whoever in this material world. But Krishna says a devotee can get the qualities of a demigod, right? And how so? Because by worshipping Krishna, you start attaining those wonderful qualities even without you working towards them. That is the beauty of bhakti. The bhakti bestows so many things to us, and one of them is all auspiciousness. One of them is to remove all difficulties in the path of bhakti. Bhakti itself removes the distresses in our path. So the path of bhakti is actually beautiful, and therefore we must grab the opportunity and take to this path of bhakti. Because of the various processes that are mentioned in the Gita, the process of bhakti is the simplest process for us to attain the lotus feet of Krishna. It is not very difficult. An Ashtanga yogi, or any other yogi for that matter, has to do a lot of sense control, has to have control over something. But as devotees, we just have to use our senses in the service of Krishna. We don't have to control them. They automatically become controlled because they're being utilized in the service of the Lord, right? For example, our eyes, we want to see beautiful things. Our tongue wants to taste wonderful, tasty things, right? Our ears want to hear beautiful music, right? And maybe our hearts desire to visit various places, right? We can use these desires in the service of Krishna by using our eyes to see Krishna's beautiful form, by using our tongue to taste Krishna Prasada, by using our ears to listen to Krishna Kirtan or Krishna Katha, by using our heart's desire to travel, by going to various places that has temples in this world. Srila Prabhupada has been so merciful to everybody that he's built more than 108 temples. I don't know what's the count now, right? So there are so many temples in the world. Every place we go to, there'll be one temple of the Lord, right? So our desires can be dovetailed in the service of Krishna, and therefore this path of bhakti is not difficult. It is susukam kartum avyayam. It's very easy, and love for Krishna can be easily attained through this path of bhakti. So Prabhupada says in the purport, only Krishna and Krishna conscious devotees alone can know what is what, because Krishna's devotees, their only goal is to follow the orders of Krishna, to follow the instructions of Krishna, to to live just to satisfy Krishna. Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhakti Ruchate. They want to serve the master of the senses, right? So I think I'll stop here, and if anybody has questions, you can answer. But before I stop, I just wanted to make this point that Srila Prabhupada has toiled very hard to give, because I saw very few hands up, and therefore I'm making this point, to give us access to Vedic texts in a very simplified manner. It is not Srila Prabhupada's words. Often Srila Prabhupada used to read after the book is published, or after he's written something, he would read, and some of his disciples would ask this question, Prabhupada, you just wrote this down, why are you reading? And Prabhupada often would say that these are not my words, they're words of the Lord. I'm just an instrument, I've just written it down. So Prabhupada has written these words, and he's just an instrument, and these are words of the Lord. So we have great fortune with us. We think, oh, we don't have riches, but this is the great rich. This is the greatest rich wealth we can have, right? So accept that you're all wealthy, because everybody has a Gita in their house. Is there anyone who does not have a Bhagavad Gita in their house? Anybody? Okay, so you have great fortune at home. It's just that probably you haven't realized that you have great fortune, and I hope you realize that you have great fortune, and utilize this opportunity to read and understand, and if you have any doubts, like Arjuna did, ask Sri Krishna. It may not be possible to ask Sri Krishna, so you can access Krishna in the form of devotees, in the form of acharyas who are physically present in this world, right? Please take up to this process of bhakti. He's also present in the form of Nama Prabhu, Shri Harina. So you can either read you should ideally be doing both, we should ideally be doing both, but it'll be nice if we could all develop love for Krishna in the form of his holy name, in the form of Vedic texts, and in the form of sadhus, right? With that, I end the discussion. If anybody has any questions, any doubts, please feel free to ask. No doubts. Nobody understood anything. My social science teacher used to tell. Yes, Prabhu, thank you.
I'm so impressed the way you put across, though it was one shloka, but you brought in so many shlokas. My question today is, you have made a reference to we all aspire to follow or to reach out to maybe some film star or politician, and that reference you said we should aspire to follow demigods.
No, I didn't say we should aspire to follow demigods. I said that Krishna has said that if we follow the process of bhakti, unknowingly the qualities of the demigods manifest in us.
Okay.
So,
correct. So
yeah.
I stand corrected.
So there is no need to aspire for anything, just worship and you will get wonderful things in your life.
So who are these demigods? Can you give me more
So
details?
there are Muppatti Mukkod Devargal. I don't know how much is that in English. There are so many crores of devatas. To name a few, Brahma, Indra, Chandra, Varuna, Vayu, all of these, I'd like to say that they are ministers who are working in the department of managing this material world. They're all devatas. So the sun has an adipati, has a person. He is Surya Bhagwan, right? The moon has Chandra Bhagwan, right? They're all called devatas or demigods, because God or Bhagavan is Shri Krishna, who's bestowed, who has all six opulences and complete. Whereas these devatas, they're all source. Krishna is the source of all these devatas, but they're just ministers working on his behalf.
We all are parts and
Parcels of the Lord. Yeah. At the end of the day, everyone's part and parcel of the Lord. They are just higher living entities who are situated in this in higher planets in this material world. I don't know if that was simple enough.
I guess
Yes, you go.
get some.
So,
Other thing,
yeah.
they are the angas of the Lord.
Yeah, they're also, so everything in this material world can be put into the body of the Lord. In the 10th chapter and 11th chapter, we'll be reading these, we'll be understanding this bit. But devatas are essentially, they're also devotees of the Lord because they're all working for Him in some way or the other. Yeah. Yes, anybody, any other questions?
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Okay, quickly, no. Yeah, very briefly, the 6 opulences of Bhagavan,
Oh, okay.
Lord, and how they are lesser in each other entity.
I would not know how much it is in the devatas, but in the forms of the Lord itself, that as Shri Krishna, he has 4 special attributes, and he is 100%. And then in his Vishnumurti, and I'm really bad at remembering these percentages. There's like some Prabhu 64, yeah, 64 and then 60, and there are numbers in the Shastras. Personally, why I don't remember these numbers or even the Yuga numbers and stuff, because for me what matters is loving Krishna and understanding the philosophy. But when it comes to the material calculation and stuff, it just sort of doesn't stick in my head because it doesn't really matter to me. I'm sorry, but I can send you the numbers if that is required. But let me tell you what the 6 opulences of the Lord are. That's something that I remember. To remember the 6 opulence, this is what I did when I was a kid. SKBFWR. S stands for strength, K stands for knowledge, B stands for beauty, F for fame, W for wealth, and R for renunciation. So Krishna has these in completeness. Sadaishwarya Purna. He is has these 6 opulences in full. Right? No one but Krishna has this, and that is what in full at once, and therefore he's called Bhagavan. So we've often heard people address various other beings as Bhagavan, which is not correct actually. But they can be addressed in the sense like some of the devatas also be addressed as Bhagavan because they're all anshas of the Lord. But in actuality, it is only Sri Krishna who is complete in all 6 opulences at once, and therefore he is to be called Bhagavan. This is what the Shastras say. There is a verse that says that this is why one can be called Bhagavan. Right.
One thing I want to share from Bhagavad Gita, 2nd chapter, it's mentioned, when he is in Narayana form, he is not called Bhagavan.
Yeah, he's not.
Yeah.
Only as
He is in
Krishna he's called
original form,
Bhagavan.
Trivanganayana.
Yeah, he's called as Bhagavan only when he's as Krishna, as Shri Krishna, the Swayam Bhagavan form. Yeah, no other form. We all know that Krishna has unlimited incarnations, right? And that is why it is essential to know that Krishna, the Avatari, or the one from whom everything emanates, he's the only one who can be addressed as Bhagavan. And that's what Lord Brahma himself, he chants those verses in the Brahma Samhita just to make us understand that everything has come from the Lord, and he is the ultimate person, and he is that Bhagavan. This in his Sachid Ananda Vigraha, in that absolute form, whereas he's holding his beautiful float, attracting all the devotees to his lotus feet. Krishna is not present in the sense, as we know the history of the Mahabharata. Krishna left his material body, so to say. His body is not material, but he left this worldly leela and went back to his spiritual abode at some point. And at that point is when Srimad Bhagavatam emanated as the sun that can dispel all our darkness, right? For us personally, we have so many doubts, right? These doubts can be compared to the clouds that hide the sun. When the sun is there, it is bright, right? But when the clouds cover it, we think, oh, the sun is gone, or we cannot see the sun, right? Similarly, our existence as jivas or as living entities, we have so many doubts. These doubts actually cover up our actual identity as jivas, as those beings who are parts and parcels of the Lord and those who are servants of the Lord. Only when these doubts are dispelled, how will these doubts be dispelled? By practice of sadhana bhakti, and that is possible only in the association of devotees, right? So when the doubts are dispelled, we will come to know who we are, we will ask questions and understand our relationship with Krishna, and then we will be able to follow this path properly. Until such time, we'll be going on in circles.
Prabhu has a lot.
Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. I'm sorry, this is my first day today, and if
Oh,
I'll
Jay,
ask
we're
any
nice.
foolish
Happy to
question,
have you here.
Thank you. I'm sorry if I'll ask any foolish question. So, till now I thought that there's Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, and Krishna is the reincarnation of Lord Vishnu.
Okay.
But what you said, it looks like Krishna and then all devas and all.
Mhm.
So I'm a little bit confused now. So where I will find it out, this Krishna who took born in Gokul to the Krishna you are talking about, from which all the devas came out. So
Oh, thank you for that question, Prabhu. Just for your clarification, every question is a wonderful question. It's an opportunity for all of us to learn. So anybody has any questions, please feel free to ask, because our path of bhakti is a process of question and answer, like I said in the beginning, right? Thank you for this question. So there's only one Sri Krishna. As in, the fountainhead of everything is one absolute truth, Sri Krishna. He is the same person who appeared in Vrajabhumi, in Sri Vrindavan Dham, on the request of his devotees, right? He came down, and it is him in his Swayam form. Well, if you go deeper, they say Krishna doesn't, there's so much of discussion, but just to answer your question, it's one Krishna, right? And where can you learn more about this? By reading Srimad Bhagavatam, right? Srimad Bhagavatam, so the primary difference between the Gita and the Bhagavatam is, the Gita are the words of the Lord, which dispel our doubt, which tell us how to lead our life. And Srimad Bhagavatam is the glorification of the Supreme Absolute Truth, and his Leelas, so his Leelas as Krishna and as the different avatars. And it also talks about his various devotees as well. Just coming to the point that Srimad Bhagavatam is said to be a book, but it's an incarnation of the Lord in the form of a book. Right? So in Srimad Bhagavatam, or even the Gita, you can find where Krishna will tell who's who, what is what. But in the second canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, you can understand the entire process of creation. You will be able to understand it better when you read it with somebody, because sometimes it can be mind-boggling. Krishna, he expanded to 3 Vishnus for the process of creation, and then thereafter Brahma emanated from his navel, and from Brahma came Lord Shiva. But essentially, like I said, Krishna is the source of everything, so everything comes from Krishna. Thank you for the question, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. I will end. Thank you all for your patient listening, and thank you once again for this opportunity. Please forgive me if I've made any mistakes. And please bless me so that I can learn more and share these glories with anybody that I come across. Because Mahaprabhu said, Yare Deka Tarika Krishna Upadesh. That means whatever you've heard today, if you go and say these at least 1 or 2 sentences to somebody else, you're actually becoming a preacher in the hands. That's what Mahaprabhu wants us to do. He said, I'm a gardener and I want many people to distribute this fruit of bhakti to everybody. And that is why every one of us must try to share whatever we read every day to at least one person on daily basis. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare.
When neophyte person, Prabhu is having doubts, he has to hear from a bona fide person.
Oh yes, I forgot to use the word bona fide. Yes, thank you for pointing that out. So when I say devotees of the Lord, I simply mean that they are bona fide because they're following a path. Okay, just to give you an example, like if you just randomly go to any person who wears a a doctor's coat and sits at some lab and gives prescription and you take his medicine, you might even die because that person is not a real doctor. But you have to go to a doctor who's authenticated, who's licensed, so that his medicine will cure you. And similarly, if you go to any random person and talk about your doubt, the solution or the answer that person gives you may even be life-threatening, right? So it is essential that we approach a person who is following the parampara in the disciplic succession. And Srila Prabhupada has very mercifully given us access to these acharyas who are bona fide, and there are three other paramparas who have bona fide acharyas as well. We follow the Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya, and whose fountainhead is Lord Brahma. And Srila Prabhupada's disciples are present in this world, and disciples of his disciples are also present. And in our Sangha also we have exalted devotees, senior Vaishnavas who can clarify this doubt. So please take association, join our Sanghas on Sunday, and we'll be happy to see you again. Prabhu, Hare Krishna. Vanchakalpatrubhyascha kripasindhubhyevcha patitanam pavanebhyo. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai.